Jen from Jen's Stitching Niche. I'm back for an update video. Today is March 20th, and this is the second time I've recorded this. I have a new computer, which is over there, that's not working. I spent a lot of money on a brand new big laptop from Mac that's supposed to have all kinds of bells and whistles for better movie processing, and apparently 40 minutes of Flosstube is too much for it. So we're going back to the little old girl, and she's going to see, we can see how she does. Hopefully this will work. I can see myself in that one, but it's not working. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so hi everybody. It's been a while. It's been 6 weeks since my last video. It's been busy. Crazy. I did record another video, but then I forgot to upload it or something. It is what it is. So I'm back and things are good. Things are very good. Y'all were all so sweet from my last video with my husband's little kind of introduction. He's a sweet guy. He's a good person. So we are all home, including Patrick. We had to go to Orlando last weekend and pick up Patrick. He was participating in the Disney College program, and his extension was through July, but they canceled it all. Last Saturday, he got an email. Well, I think last Friday, they got an email telling them all that the parks were going to close on Sunday. They would be open through closing time on Sunday. And he's like, okay, that's 2 weeks that they would be closed, and then he would just have some downtime. And then Saturday, all the college students got emails saying that their program was canceled and that they needed to be out of the apartments by Wednesday. So Hobby and I drove down Sunday, and Monday morning packed up everything, and Monday afternoon, Hobby, Patrick, and I drove back to Mississippi. He's hoping to go back to Orlando. He's applying for permanent positions with Disney, so keep your fingers crossed that he gets that. That's what he really wants to do. He does not want to be back in Mississippi. So it is what it is. We'll figure it out. A lot of people are in similar positions that he's in, and it could be a lot worse. So we are all in quarantine now because we have this person that's been around the entire world of Disney and all that comes with that, and he's in the house with us. So we're all in quarantine for 2 weeks, which is fine for me and fine for Nicholas. Hobby and Patrick, on the other hand, are much more social, and I think they're suffering more, particularly Hobby. Hobby he works in an office for a power company, and he is always interacting with lots of people, and now he can't, so he's struggling, but he'll make it. He'll be all right. I just don't want to put up with what the people that he works with have to put up with. He's a jokester, and he's constantly pulling practical jokes at work, so he doesn't need to do that at home, I'm hoping. That computer makes me so aggravated. I should just shut it, but whatever. Okay, so updates. Life update. That was my life update. Things have been crazy. Classes have been moved to online. I will be okay with that. My students are going to survive. Seniors are going to graduate. Things will move on. So we're all good. Everybody's healthy at our house. It's pollen season in South Mississippi, which is horrendous, and so even people who don't normally have allergies, we suffer through it as well. So spring is here. Chicken update, we're down to 4 chickens. I had 10 chickens when I left Saturday, and when I got home I had 8 chickens, and then I had 6 chickens, and now I have 4 chickens, and I think I know what's happening. We have hawks, which I love hawks. And I think the hawks have just been coming to the buffet line every morning. because our chickens, we let them kind of free roam, and they have been perching on top of the chicken coop instead of getting inside the chicken coop at night. And I think the hawks just show up early in the morning and pick whichever one they want off the top of the chicken coop. Reason I think that is 2 nights ago, the 4 chickens we have left were all roosting up here next to the house on the back of my truck. And no, we don't want that. So I ran them back to the chicken coop and got them inside the coop and closed it. And they were all there the next day. And we've done that 2 nights in a row, and they're all good. And the girls are actually doing okay. They don't like to be shut up. So I've done that 2 nights, and they're doing okay. So hopefully that's the issue. Haven't heard or seen the hawks in the past few days, but it's like so frustrating because I've taken good care of those girls. But it is what it is. I'm not getting any new chickens this year. No matter what. I'm not going to Tractor Supply and buying any chickens. I'm not getting any new chickens this year. We'll see about next year if we can keep these 4 going. It wouldn't surprise me if 2 of the 2 chickens that I'm missing turn up, because they go over to, the chickens are on this side of the house, and then we have some trees over here, and they like to hang out over there. So I thought I'd lost one. When I went around, I found her hiding out in the trees over here, so we'll see. Chicken update. They're still laying eggs, getting pretty eggs from them. Stitching time. So, since I've seen you last, I've been doing quite a bit of crafting. We're revising the textbook, but we're on the end stages of that, which gives me crafting time without guilt. Because I craft all the time. I just feel guilty when I do it. But now I can craft without guilt, which means I'm much more productive. So I have some cross-stitch stuff to share with you, but I also have some quilting things to share with you. So I'll start with the quilting. Last summer, last June, we had our launch meeting for the textbook in Dubuque, Iowa. And I was talking to my production manager, and I'm like, hey, can I come in a day early? Because y'all have great craft shops around you, and I would really like to do a little bit of shopping. And he's like, sure, no problem. We'll just get your airline ticket and your hotel room the day before, and that gives you almost 24 hours, because I flew in like on a Thursday, and our first meeting was a dinner meeting on Friday. I said, perfect. So I rented a car, and when I got to Dubuque, went to the hotel, because if you fly in from Mississippi to Dubuque, it's all day to get there. So I got there around 4 that afternoon. But I got up early on Friday, and I drove up to Spring Green and did some shopping. And I bought a quilt kit called the Whirligig. It's from Crinoline. Let me see if I can find the book, because I had the book. I just don't know what I did with the book. Okay, so I found it. So it's from Red Crinoline's Favorite, collection number 6, and it's the Whirligig, which is down here. So I bought the kit and the pattern and the backing fabric from Cross Stitch Country Sampler, excuse me. And they came with these little pieces of paper. So you cut your squares, and then you pin this on top, and then you follow the line sewing on it, and then you cut, and you have all your half square triangles. So it's super fast. I did this in 2 days, one weekend, and I finished the quilt top. So here it is, using kit from Country Sampler. It's the Whirligig. Isn't that beautiful? I love the colors. So I've got everything ready to go for quilting, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to quilt it myself or if I'm going to send it off to the quilter that I use, the lady that does the long arm quilting, because she does a good job. So we'll see. See if I can turn that thing off. Okay. So we'll see. But isn't that beautiful? I'm going to put it on my dining room table for Independence Day. So that's one project I finished, quilting project. The second project is a piecing project that I haven't finished. It's a Block of the Month Club. And this is through Stitcher's Haven, or Stitchin' Heaven in Texas. I don't know where in Texas. But they're doing Block of the Month Club for Farm Girl Vintage. So each month we get the materials for 6 blocks, and we'll be able to do 8 months. We'll have all the blocks done, and then blocks 9 and 10 we do the finishing, so the borders and everything. So I got my first shipment in February, and here are the blocks because I finished them all in one weekend. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's so cute. So they send you all the fabric, and then I've got all this left over. So plenty of fabric. My second shipment, I think, comes today. So my husband's supposed to pick up the mail today, so maybe that's where it is. And then my last sewing accomplishment is another kit that I picked up. And I picked this up in Amana when I was there for the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat. I just have to find where I've put it. Maybe it's under here. Maybe not. Do y'all see a lot of stuff hanging out? I did this recording already. All right, so this is the last quilting project that I've been working on. This is Mini Pumpkins by Cluck Cluck Sew. I picked this up in Amana as well. I picked up the kit, which has enough for doing all the blocks and the binding, but I don't think it has enough for the backing. You have to do 16 squares, and I've done 12. And so here are the ones that I've completed. Very pretty orange colors. I love them. So some of them are solid, and then you've got these that are strips that you sew together. There's some more of the strips. Very cute. And then the last 2, so that's 12 that I've finished. And then you can see those orange squares back there. That is where I messed up, where I had them all laid out, and now it's a big mess. So I've just got 4 left to do, and I'll do those probably this weekend. So that's my quilting progress, which I think is pretty good. With all this downtime, I should be able to finish that, and then maybe get some binding on some quilts that I've finished. I'm really enjoying this, sheltering in place. Love it. All right, I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about Market. Market 2020 was wonderful. We went the early part of March, the first weekend in March. Lish and I went to Nashville or actually Franklin, Tennessee for Market. We drove up Thursday afternoon, and we were able to do Friday night shopping and then get most of our shopping done Saturday before 2 o'clock. We were organized, and that made a huge difference. I did not do pre-orders for customers because I didn't want to make promises that I could not keep immediately. I like to ship things out as soon as possible, so I was afraid if I did pre-orders, I wouldn't be able to get the materials and would have to wait for the designer to ship those to me later, and that could be, long term. So I just did, posted what I was able to get at Market and sold it, and then I'm restocking already. On my Etsy shop, Jen's Stitching Niche, you will see a Market 2020 tab, and so anything that I purchased or was released at Market is available, that I have available, you can find there. And I'm restocking materials as quickly as I can. Picture This Plus fabrics came in and went right out, so that was exciting. I am going to reorder, but that may take a few months because they have to hand dye all of that. But otherwise, you know, I still have quite a bit in stock, including the Sewing Club from Blackbird. I just got in an order from Hoffman and was able to restock that particular chart. What were my favorites? Of course, I love Brenda Gervais. All of her stuff was wonderful. But one designer, I was just so impressed with her, and her releases were adorable, and that was Annie B's. Annie B's, she had some really cute ones, and I'll insert pictures here. She just knocked it out of the park. She did a great job. The Bunny and Bee is my favorite of her releases. It's one of my favorites of Market. Blue Flowers, Huckleberry Farm was great. So cute. I love the color scheme there. It was great getting to meet her as well. And probably to me, the outstanding one of Market was the collaboration between Beth Twist and Tanya. That berry basket sampler was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But everybody did great. The Blackbird design stuff, the Brenda Gervais, the Plum Street, all of the designers really brought it this year, and so that's been really wonderful. I didn't keep really anything chart-wise. I kept a couple of charts, I think, but most of it I put in my shop. So if you're interested, Jen's Stitching Niche, check it out. Free shipping for orders $35 or more, so you know that's not too hard to get to with all these new Market releases. There were a few things that I picked up at Market for myself, and I'll show you those. One was I don't even know the name of the shop, honestly. She had a lot of just accoutrement, and she had these little thread drops. They're wooden thread drops, and here's an example. Isn't that cute? So I just thought these were adorable. So I bought those for myself. I also bought a project bag. You'll have to excuse me. I've recorded this video twice in my new computer, and my new computer is not acting right. So I'm back on the old computer, and so things are everywhere. So I bought this set of project bags, candy corn, and over at Dinky Dyes they had scissors to match. So isn't that cute? So I bought those for myself. Okay. And then Retromantic Fripperies is now just Fripperies, and so they have all the wooden pieces, and I did pick up a few things, including this threadboard Hoppy Stitching. So cute. But again, check out my website, Etsy, Jen's Stitching Niche at Etsy if you're interested. Stitching wise, I have gotten quite a bit done cross stitch. So we're going to pause, and I'm going to show you all of my finishes and what I've been working on since our last visit. Okay, so this year I'm focusing on my whips. I'm doing everything I can to reduce my whip count considerably. I started the year with 81 whips. I'm down to 68 as of Friday, which is exciting. I would love to get that whip count down to 30, but I am going to do Stitch Mania, so that's going to be problematic. Not problematic. It's going to be a hurdle. That's what it is. It's going to be a challenge, and I love challenges. So, but I have been stitching a lot. I have stitched every single day this year. I have not missed a day. Even at Market, I would force myself to stitch, even if it was just 5 minutes. I did some stitching. When we went to Orlando to pick up Patrick, I stitched all the way to Orlando, and then we got up the next morning, and I was able to stitch in the morning before we went to pick up Patrick. So every day I've been stitching, and that's really helpful because I've got quite a few finishes. So I may have shown some of these on my last video. I can't remember. If I have, then you get to see them again. I did not iron anything. It is messy, but it's real life. So here are my finishes since early February. So first up is Gigi by Nora Corbett. So I was close to a finish in early February when I did my last video. And this is on, I don't know what fabric. I think it's a silk weaver. It may be cinnamon twist or something like that. And I used the DMC and most of the correct beads, but if I didn't have it, I just substituted something that I had from Stitchy Box. Okay. While at retreat in early February, I took a lot of small things to stitch on, mainly the ornaments that I started in the Jolly July last year, and got quite a few finishes. So first up is this fruit basket from Theron Traditions. This was in one of the Just Cross Stitch magazines. So it's cute, easy finish. I finished, Plum Street Samplers, Love and Joy. Again, this was in one of the Cross Stitch magazine, Christmas ornament magazine, so I finished that one. Also, I finished Sampler Folks. This is from Carriage House Sampling. I started this in Mania, I think in 2018. And this is deceptively, harder than you would think. It looks like, oh, that's just a few small things, but it took a little bit longer than I expected. So I was happy to finish that one. I also finished Autumn Bounty. This is from Barbara Anna. This was in a punch needle and primitive cross stitch, punch needle and primitive stitching magazine. Such a cute piece. I love that one. And then this one. This is Autumn in Amana, Souvenir of the Hearts from Brenda Gervais. And this is 1/1 on 28 count mushroom Lugana. And I learned a technique of how to do 1/1 stitching in hand, and it's very helpful. And I know I promised a video, and hopefully during this quarantine time I'll be able to record that. But I just love the colors on that. That house is beautiful. So that's one of my favorite finishes so far. Here's another Mania start that I complete. Oh, got to get it the right way. This is Pumpkin and Peacocks from Carriage House Sampling, I believe. And I almost bailed on this. This is 32 count. I think that's an even weave. I think it's a Lugana. But it was a torture. But I finished it. It's turned out really cute. Not sure how I'm going to FFO it. I think I'm going to do some type of like Priscilla Vanna type finish. Not sure. Another Mania start. This was from 2018 as well. That is now complete. Is of Female Art. This is a primitive needle piece. I don't know the color of this fabric. I think it's a silk weaver. It may be one of Teresa's, actually. It's a Zweigert base, but it is beautiful. And this is a silk that I had in my stash that I used. It may be a Belle Soie, I don't know. But I picked that chart up at Cross Stitch Peddler, but I've promised it to another stitcher, so it's going to be making its way to a new person soon. So, how many is that so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So only a few left. My next finish was a Blackbird Designs. This is Merry Christmas from the Merry December booklet, the stocking booklet. I finished this one earlier. So that's from the same booklet. That's the second one with some over-one stitching. Look at that. And the third one, I've got to start, but it's going to be a while before I finish it. This is 40 count. I think this is Liberty Gathering Gray. It's an R&R, but it's really pretty, 40 count. So I'll finish all of those as stockings. That was a Jolly July start as well. Okay, so the next 3 are from the 12 Berries of Christmas series. So I started these last year in Stitch Mania, all 12 of the berries. So I'm counting each one as a separate start. I finished 5, so I just have 7 left. Well, I picked up day 12 and completed it. And this is stitched on the 35 count Cocoa, which is the called for. And I'm using the called for threads primarily. If I don't have it, I substitute something in my Victorian motto. So that's the 12 drummers drumming. And when we went to Orlando, I decided to take these with me because I figured I could get some stitching done because Hobby was driving. And I did. I finished the 6th day, which is the 6 geese a-laying. It's a lot of green. And then I finished this week 7 swans a-swimming. And again, it's all stitched on the called for linen, 35 count mocha, or 35 count cocoa, excuse me, from Weeks Dye Works, and primarily the called for threads. So that's all my finishes so far, which I think is pretty good. That opens up a lot of spaces in my Stitch Mania, which I am going to do Stitch Mania. However, before I get to Stitch Mania, just kind of give you an update and let you know what I'm working on. This year I'm doing the focus on the whips, getting those whip counts done. And the way I'm doing this is I have the Tiny Decisions app, and I have listed not all of my whips, but a lot of them. And I just spin the wheel, and whatever comes up, that's what I stitch on. And I focus on that until it's finished or for 2 weeks. So if it's going to take longer than 2 weeks, I've got to switch to something else. So most of these, I kind of drew those from using the Tiny Decisions app and have finished them. So that's really been helpful. There was one that came up and I stitched on it until 2 weeks. Well, let me find it. It's over here in the stack. And I stitched on it, solely on this one project for 2 weeks. And that is One Starry Christmas Eve, which is beautiful. Now that is stitched on Aztec red, so all the red background is the fabric. And when I started this, I just had this top corner done, a little bit here, and then just a tiny bit here. So I stitched on it for 2 weeks, and that's my progress, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. It's a lot of little tiny stitches, because this is stitched on 46 count Aztec red. It's a little bit brighter there. That's a little better. But I'm close to a finish, and it's only going to be just a little bit farther down here. So maybe another spin and I will get that one done. We'll see. All right, so that is my finishes and focus up to this point. What I'm doing now is another Brenda Gervais. Most of you know I'm a little obsessed with Brenda Gervais. I love her stuff. And here is a whip that I haven't touched in a long, long time. This is Summer at Cherry Hill. And I spun the wheel and this one came up, and when I started, I had from that A all the way over to the K. So this is the kind of the page that I'm working on. And I had the horizontal line. So I picked it up yesterday and started stitching on it while I watched Frozen. And that's my progress. So not bad. Got that vertical line, the bird, that branch, and all those numbers. So I'm going to stitch on this one, focusing on this one for the next 2 weeks. But I'm not going to focus and stitch on this one only on the weekends in particular. I came up with an idea last night. Watching Flosstube, listening to everybody come up with their ideas, and I always love new ideas. And I'm like, okay, you're going to be in quarantine for at least a month because I quarantine, but I don't have to go to work. don't have to go anywhere except the grocery store. So during the week, I will be working because I have to deal with class stuff and I have my shop to deal with. But on the weekends, I'm really going to just relax, clean my house, and craft. So I said, why don't you do like not the 24 hours of cross stitch, but pick some projects and focus on several projects and stitch and watch your shows that you want to watch. So I said, okay, I have this little set of sticky notes that I picked up at one of my trips to Disney. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this. And it actually gives me 7 lines. I said, okay, so that's my quarantine weekend number 1. These are the things that I'm going to focus on. And I just spun the wheel and how these things came up. I am doing one change because I can't find this pear tree. I have it in here. It's just not alphabetized because it's with another one and I don't know which one it's with. So I'm going to substitute the 12 berries instead of the pear tree. Why don't I fix that right now? So 12 berries. Okay, now. So these are the projects that I'm going to focus on starting today, which is Friday. I'll stitch on these Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'll probably do like hourly rotations like I would do at a retreat. And so here are the projects. So you've seen the summer at Cherry Hill. I'm going to work on that one. The other things I'm going to focus on this weekend, I'm going to work on Jolly Joy Jingle from Raise the Roof. So I've got to start on this. I'm stitching it on a piece of 32 count Swamp from Picture This Plus, which is the call for. So I've got the angel done, or the little girl done. I just have to do all this, swirly stuff up here and then all of this down here. So that's one of my focuses this weekend. Cute, cute, cute. And then the 12 Berries of Christmas, which I will work on, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Maybe I'll get one of those finished. The 12 Days of Christmas from Jim Shore. So I don't know if I've shown you this in a long time, but the 12 Days of Christmas from Jim Shore is a gorgeous, elaborate piece. And I decided I wanted to do something similar to what they did here, which instead of stitching it as all one piece, I wanted to do them separately on this flourish perforated paper that Mill Hill makes. When I started this, I didn't have my own shop. And so I ordered all of the paper, perforated paper from Silver Needle. So if you're interested, Silver Needle does carry this. And I started each one on its separate piece of paper. So 3 years ago, they did a 12 Days of Christmas sale, and that's when I started this. And so here are some of the progress. I've spent most of my time on the first one, though I have started I've started 11 of the 12. So just a little bit more of this one, mainly beading in those pairs. And then you're going to start to see very quickly that I haven't spent much time on any of the other ones. So here's the second one. And the flourish perforated paper, I've got them in different colors just to match the various charts. There's the third. And the fourth. And now we're going to start to see where Jennifer ran out of steam. Fifth, or I haven't focused on any of them. Sixth. I'm assuming this is the 7th. Eighth. Ninth. Or maybe, I don't know. 10th. This is the 11th. It's pitiful. And I haven't even started the 12th. So So that's one that I'm going to work on this weekend as well. Because I love these. I really want to finish them and have them framed and put up each one starting on December 25th through the, 12th night. I think it'll be a really cute project. So I did stock this in my shop, and I can get it back in stock if anybody wants it. But I have the beads and I have all the buttons available too if you're interested in that. So, all right. 3 more focus pieces. The next one is the 3 Black-Eyed Susans, which I thought I'd finish this. I actually have it marked as finished in one of my many renditions of organization, but I am not finished with it. Got quite a bit to go. Got to finish her dress and then the cauldron and the grass at the bottom. That's a lot. But she's cute. Want to finish her. I know Suzette from Primitive Stitcher I think she's already finished her. She was stitching on it during the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat. I haven't finished mine. And then next to the last one that I'm going to focus on is the Magic Garden sampler from Shakespeare's Peddler. This is really cute. I love the colors. But it is not an easy one to stitch on. And I think it was Pam. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I think Pam from Stitching Between the Lines said that she struggled with stitching this one as well. And I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count. It's a Lakeside Linens, but I'm not sure which one. But here is my progress. So I've got a little more than half of it done. And maybe if I focus on it a couple of weekends, I can get it done. Because I love it, I just don't like stitching it. And lastly this one is a shameful start. This is October that I agreed with Lisha that we were going to start this in Mania last year. And I started it. I just haven't touched it since then. So there's my start. And I'm stitching this on a piece of Anubis, what is that, 32 count from Under the Sea fabric, which is a beautiful fabric, but I need to get to work on it. So this weekend I'll work on it. So those are my plans for this weekend. We will be, shut up in small town Mississippi for a while. We've got our groceries. It was so funny. I do the Walmart grocery pickup. And there's 2 stores that I can go to. One which is in Columbia, which is a smaller town near us. We live kind of between these 2 towns, Hattiesburg and Columbia. And our hometown is a little tiny town in Summerall, in between those 2. So I work in Hattiesburg, so I mostly do my grocery shopping there. But if I'm not in Hattiesburg, it's actually quicker to go to Columbia. I know that's very important to all of y'all to know, but that's what we're dealing with. So I did a grocery pickup in Columbia on Tuesday. And I got the notification from them that they didn't have about a third of what I ordered. There's a little grocery store that's a family-owned kind of local chain here in Mississippi called Ramey's. And they have a really good shop in Columbia. So I like going to that one. There's also one in our hometown, Summerall. It's much smaller, not that great. So I told Hobby, I said, look, I'm going to go do grocery pickup at Walmart, but then I'm going to run over to Ramey's and get whatever we don't have. And I said, why don't you go by the Ramey's in Hattiesburg and pick up, some hamburger meat, because we've got 2 guys at the house now and they can go through hamburger meat pretty quickly. And he's like, okay, and I'll pick up a couple of other things. Well, we both got home about the same time, and he bought almost exactly the same thing that I bought. So we've got plenty of groceries at this point. My husband's company did one of those little cookbooks that, churches and community organizations will do. Well, they did one. It's called Hey Good Looking What You Got Cooking, WATT, nerds. So I've been going through that, and I've just been cooking those. It's like cooking from the late 80s, early 90s. So I made a taco casserole. The boys loved it. I made cashew chicken casserole last night. We're having enchiladas tonight. But I've just been having fun going through my recipe books, kind of just, eating like I did when I was a kid. When we were growing up, there were 5 kids at home all the time. Usually we had extras, 7 to 8. So my mom worked, she was a nurse, my dad was a farmer. So my dad was home with us, and we had at least 7 kids at the house that he had to deal with, because we always had friends or cousins over. And we could stretch some food, guys. I mean, when I look back on it, I'm like, no wonder we were all so skinny. I'm like, y'all were starving us. But we had to make tuna fish like every day. From my childhood, our meals were peanut butter sandwiches or tuna fish sandwiches. Because sandwich meat was too expensive and these kids would go through it too quickly. But we could take a can of tuna, maybe 2 cans if my dad was feeling like it was, we needed more food, and multiple boiled eggs, and we could feed a crowd with that. And so I've been making tuna salad like I did when I was a kid. And so I have tuna salad, some type of fruit. Can't eat it on crackers. My dad wouldn't let us eat tuna fish on crackers because he said that was, you would eat too much of the tuna, put it on bread. So, but, so yeah, it's been like being back in the summertime when we were kids. Ice cream at the end of the day, because we always got ice cream at the end of the day. So, but it's been fun, interesting. We've got a lot longer to deal with this. We'll make it. Thankfully, we have lots of stitching supplies to go through. So that's my update. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe I can do another update this time next week. I've got to go see if I can borrow the internet from our library, which is closed because I can't go on campus, but we'll see. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, as everybody else is saying, stay healthy, wash your hands, and see you soon.